churn out a lot of young leaders in the last 12 years or thereabouts. Shaddaiville, every year you give our certificate to young leaders, building them to become productive and not just productive adults, but what can I call it? Disciplined adults, people who are very, very aware of their share in Nigeria, in their country, and in their society. Where did you get the courage to start breeding young leaders every year, giving them certificates and bringing mentors to mentor them? How did you start the whole Shaddaiville thing? And why did you go into it? Because it's a very tedious endeavor.
Thank you very much. You're very kind with all the things you have said about us. Shaddaiville is 16 years old this year, 2018. We started in year 2003. And the beautiful thing about Shaddaiville is that when I started, I didn't know where I was going. I just knew that God wanted me to start this. I had a whole appetite, and my white garment church, Celestial Church of Christ, did not have the structures to take all of this. And then God did not allow me to lead the Celestial Church. I'm a prophet in the Celestial Church and a shepherd of a parish in the Celestial Church. So because there was new wine flowing in me, and the old wineskin of the church could not contain it, God allowed me another new wineskin, which was Shaddaiville. And when we started, we were holding evening fellowships while I would go to church Sunday mornings, and then we'll converge in the evenings. After about 5 years, the Lord said to me, start a leadership training course. And this is funny. I said to the Lord, I am not Miles Monroe. God blesses his soul. He's late now. And I'm definitely not any leadership expert. I remember I mentioned Miles Monroe, and I mentioned this other great leadership.
T.D. Jakes?
Maxwell? For leadership, yes, John Maxwell. And the Lord said, if you're ready, I will teach you all you need to teach. So in 2007, we started, and it took a whole year. I was able to teach one module per month. So my pioneer set of 52 students, most of them graduates, some of them in polytechnics and universities. And then I remember 9 of them out of 52 were still waiting to enter into a tertiary institution. And you know, this for me was the catch. Because when I was unwilling, the Lord dangled a carrot. And God said to me, you know what, if you will do this. Because God had said a yearning gap in Christianity. The leadership training was a yearning gap. And he needed people to fill it in. As the Lord was speaking to me, I didn't know he was already speaking to the likes of Pastor Sam Adeyemi, speaking to the likes of Bishop Oyedepo. I didn't have anybody to photocopy. I just heard a word and I had to move ahead. And he said, anyone who comes into the Shaddaiville Leadership Academy, he, the Lord, will fulfill their greatest desires in their area of greatest challenge. I said, God, that will make me a miracle worker. So I am more than willing. So I would wait 1 whole month. He will teach me the module. Then I will call a class and I will teach the class. So we have 12 modules for basic leadership training in Shaddaiville. And right now, since 2007, we have become experts at it. I have trained trainers who have graduated. Our rule in Shaddaiville is that if you can score 90% and above, you automatically join KH as a facilitator. You teach other people. So we've been able to do this in Nigeria, in England, in America, and more recently in Germany.
Yeah, I saw the Germany one. I was coming to that because I was surprised that Shaddaiville has just gone to Germany. I used to be very familiar with the leadership affiliations in the UK, in America, and some other countries. But Germany was a very surprising spot for me. So why Germany? Because the Aryans people are very different, and you know, they are very fast and smart. So how did you go to the German connection? What is German connection all about, sir?
You know, when God wants you to do something, He sends people ahead of you. Then he he equips you. And while all of that was going, I didn't know that this was what God was going to do. Somebody invited me in Frankfurt to come to Frankfurt and minister. And as I prepared to go, the Lord said to me that you will take Shaddaiville to Germany. I said, really, you know? So I went to the German embassy. For that first visit, I got 1 month's visa. And from Frankfurt, I came back. Some people met me in Frankfurt who heard me minister. And I said, we need you back in Germany. I said, okay, that's fine. And the next thing I knew was that somebody else was inviting me in Munich. And when I applied for my visa, the visa interviewer said, oh, you have a ministry in America, because all my documents showed it. You have a ministry in England. Are you thinking of setting up a ministry also in Germany? And I said to the lady, I said, you know what, ma'am, I wasn't expecting this, but I know that of all the Schengen countries, that the German visa is the most difficult. So if I had enough latitude and I got to know the people in Germany, I'll be more than willing to establish God's efforts over there too. He said, okay. And I was given 1 year. People heard and said, how did you do it? So I knew that God wanted me to do missionary work there. And then we took Shaddaiville there. Incidentally, I went to Munich, but it wasn't in Munich the Lord said I should put it, because he had provided a wonderful family in Berlin, which is the capital of Germany. See how God works. He moved me from Lagos, that used to be the capital of Nigeria, to Berlin to go and start the same work. And he had provided a family. They housed me, they fed me, and they hosted the first Shaddaiville meeting. And it was at that meeting that I met a number of Celestians. But all of them were going to Pentecostal churches.
Why?
Because there was no Celestial church in Berlin.
Jesus Christ.
And unlike me, I don't preach church, I just preach Christ. I found myself saying at the end of the meeting that, well, I don't know why I'm saying this, but I would like all of you to know that I'm a prophet of the Celestial Church, but I'm here on a mission that is non-denominational. It was when I returned to Nigeria I started getting calls. That, excuse me, sir, I was in that inaugural meeting of Shaddaiville, I'm a Celestial. I was in that meeting, I'm a Celestial. So I called my host and hostess and said, you didn't tell me there was, I said, even us, we are Celestials. I said, what? Then they said to me, if you come and you lay the altar of the Celestial Church, we all want to go back to Celestial Church. Now, this is not usual. In White Garment Church, we lose members to the Pentecostal Church. And 9 out of 10 times, it's irretrievable loss.
I agree.
They go to the Pentecostal world and they thrive there, and they become pastors and they continue in that direction. But I was meeting a brand new set of Pentecostal Christians who said we want to return to our Celestial Church
because of that great glory.
Yeah, so that's how Shaddaiville got into Germany, and that's how Shaddaiville gave birth to Celestial Church of Christ, Praiseville in Berlin. 18 months after Praiseville, Berlin, the Lord said to me again, what you're doing and is succeeding in Germany, I want you to go and start it in Nigeria. Set up another model parish of Praiseville in Nigeria. And that's what we're doing.
In all these challenges, in all your encounter with the Lord, what was that peculiarity that struck you? Apart from the fact that all the men in Mufti that met you in Germany turned out to be old Celestials. I mean, and if you are a Celestian, you agree with me that passion cannot just leave you. Maybe you are out of the church because of some little what can I call it, misunderstandings and all that. But apart from the fact that they all turn out to be Celestial in Mufti and they want to go back to the altar of the Celestial Church, the great church, what other things struck you? And for you to know that definitely God wanted good task for you.
I had a very significant vision. I was sleeping and the heavens opened. I found myself at the seashore. This was many, many years ago, more than 20 years ago. I found myself at the seashore in the dark of the evening. And the heavens opened, and I heard a voice. Do you know what I'm about to do? Look around you. So I looked around, and I saw churches as the crow flies in one straight line, farther than my eye could see. They were all lined up, different denominations, each one with a signboard in front of them. So I saw, and I looked back, and I said, I see churches, different denominations. Suddenly, a mighty hand came down from the skies, and like a very fast eagle, started plucking all the signposts that said Baptist Church, this church, Methodist Church, Anglican Church, Celestial Church, C.C.C. Church. And the hand continued plucking all the signages farther than my eye could see. And then the voice came back to me and said, do you know what this means? I said, tell me, Lord. I said, tell the world I'm not interested in denominations.
Jesus Christ.
From that time, I knew that denomination came from the selfishness of people. Division in the body of Christ has led to growth, but that growth is in commercial quantity, not salvation quantum. People are setting up their own empires, and that's the beauty of what I have been doing in the last few decades of my life since I received my calling. I say you cannot be a Shaddaiviller unless you truly love God. Because you have to go to your own church and then come to us in the evening. So in Shaddaiville we have almost every denomination. Shaddaiville Leadership Academy, we must have trained over 1,000 people around 3 to 4 continents in the last few years. But significantly, we have also trained 3 Muslims in our leadership school.
Jesus.
I did not go out to preach Christ to them. They heard about the qualities we teach in the leadership school, and they came to me. Now, the thing about the Shaddaiville Leadership Academy is that we teach universal principles of success with the Bible. All the principles of how to do well are there in the pages of the Bible. So I identify these universal principles in self-branding, universal principles in public speaking, universal principles in basic areas, time management, etc. And I look for Bible quotation to back all of this up. So the Muslims were comfortable. I wasn't saying you have to do this, you have to do that, but everything I was teaching them was on the Bible. And they graduated. So denominations have collapsed in Shaddaiville. And the Lord is waiting for denominations to collapse in the sense that a member of the Celestial Church can comfortably worship in his garment in a redeemed church and nobody is running away from him because they see him as a Christian too. And the pastor of the redeemed church is not feeling out of place. He's there in the Celestial Church ministering and feeling at one with God. Through Shaddaiville, we've brought a lot of male and female pastors to become friends of white garment churches. And they have trusted us enough to ask us to come and preach also in their churches.
In 16 years, could you remember some names that have contributed who have contributed to the development of that institution? I mean, people are giving out time, giving out resources, giving out self-service and all that to motivate that institution. Both those that are living and those that are dead. Can you just give gratitude to some people that you felt have really used their moment, their time?
Two people come to mind who are private citizens. They are not government functionaries, so I can mention their names. But they are not the only two. What is significant about them? One is late, the other is alive. Otuba Gaddafi, Isaac Drojaye, the founder of DMT Mobile Toilets. He was in his lifetime a fellow of Shaddaiville Ministries. I remember that I had engaged with him as a journalist. I had done some interviews with him and we'd become friends. And in 2008, when I was going to graduate my first set of students, I invited him. And then I remember that day he traveled in from somewhere in Elisha into Lagos. He came in towards the end of the program. And then he called me and said, Oremi, you mean these people, about 52 of them, who spent a year with me, they are Celestians? I said, yes. So you know what? In my organization, I'm looking for, I have 3 vacancies. Can you send me, anyone you train, I can be very sure they will do well. Can you send me 3 people? They can occupy those positions straight away. I know it was the first graduating set. And the Lord was giving me such an opportunity. I sent him 3. And you know what? He snapped them up. And one of them today has remained with the organization long after Durojaye has passed. Jesus. The second thing that is, he's a general manager of the company. Yes. Now, right now. And I remember Isaac Durojaye 3 times in 3 months he promoted this young man. And he came into my office, right here in this office, and he said to me, Oremi, thank you so much. I said, for what? He said, for giving me this young man. I said, really? He said, the guy is exceptional. And this young man is today the head of my ushering department. He in turn will say to me, Daddy, thank you for sending me to DMT. The second thing that's phenomenal about late Otumba Gaddafi is that one day at one of the graduation ceremonies, he stood up and he said, I don't know why I'm saying this, but till the end of my life, I'll be donating 500,000 naira just to help the good work that you're doing training. Because you see, in the Shaddaiville Leadership Academy, our tuition is free, registration is free. We don't charge a dime for these wonderful people that we are raising. And God bless his soul. He did that for, I think, 3 years of his life, from that time till he breathed his last. The second person is Dr. David Lai Shoile. He's a medical practitioner, runs his own surgery in Kent, in the UK. He's also a fellow of Shaddaiville Ministries in London. He also stood up at one graduation ceremony of Shaddaiville and said, till I die, I'll continue to support this ministry with my resources. Now, for me, what God was just saying that if these people who are not there when I called you and asked you to start can dedicate their life to it, you cannot dedicate anything less than that yourself. But the mainstay of Shaddaiville right now is that we have trained young professionals, chartered accountants, chartered auditors, lawyers, medical doctors, nurses, teachers. We have trained at least 3 PhD holders in Shaddaiville Leadership Academy. Today, I no longer run it with my resources alone. They willingly give back. If we have a graduation ceremony, they donate what we want to use for the graduation. So it's become an every effort thing by those who have been through our system. And I think that's what makes church unique. Where everybody sees themselves as stakeholders. They don't feel cheated. They don't have a pastor who is bringing all of it into his own life alone. They'll see a selfless man who just wants other people to get better, not just his own children. And I hope God will keep me humble the rest of my life.
Before we round up, let's talk about a great friend, a brother, who was also doing something like what you are doing. And I think his name is Dr.
Omololu Oladosu.
He was a great guy in the Celestial Church. That's the Maranatha founder. And suddenly we lost him 2 years ago now, and you were the one who preached at his funeral somewhere in
Lisa
in the States. He was a very great man, and everybody called him your twin brother. Until today, everybody feel you are the kind, he's the Taiwo. And he passed away just like that. This year is going to be 2 years, I think, and a lot of Celestials felt so bad because he was like the literati. You were the professorial part of that Celestial aspect. He was the literati side. You too had something very similar. So how would you say you felt when he passed away, and how do you still feel till the day? Because I could see it in your eyes during your sermon in Lisa, and we had it on our channel. It was not just easy, and a lot of people were even calling, begging you not to die too, that you should live longer and all that. So how do you feel about Dr. Omololu Oladosu, and do you think Celestial Church needs a great icon, and do you think we've lost something?
There is no doubt about it. I mean, you cannot find two of the same. My late friend, Dr. Omololu Oladosu, was an enigma. He was a shining light in the midst of the storms of Celestial Church. He was a prophet like myself. He was an academic. And before we met each other in the field of evangelism, we have been hearing about each other. And I was saying, really? It also stunned that we both finished from Ibobi College without knowing ourselves in Ibobi College. And we found that even though we did not go through the same training, our vision for the church and the work of God was exactly the same. His loss was a sad loss. I don't see anyone filling that space. God will have to raise others to do their own bit too. But one thing I said at his funeral, which I'm saying again today, is that he passed on at 56 and had done things that 80-year-olds, 90-year-olds, even if they live to be 100, may never achieve in their own lifetime. He has written more books than anyone else in Celestial Church. He set up the first university in the Celestial Church, the Maranatha Bible University. Late Omololu sacrificed 15 years of his life teaching the seminary in Makoko that's defunct. He wasn't paid a salary, at the most maybe a stipend. I say to people that Omololu was the forebear. We're of the same generation, but he started this work well ahead of the rest of us. And I do not see any reason why any one of us should have rivalry, should be in competition. Omololu and I were not in competition. We did our best to have our followers do things together. Maranatha and Shaddaiville continue to do things together. I was in Imeko. The Maranatha revival, I was there. Incidentally, it looks like it's such a long time because we miss him. But this February is the first anniversary of his death. It's just 1 year.
Yep.
I know his good friend, Prophet Tibeton, also misses him. He told me too that he's doing an anniversary in celebration of his memory.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and I will soon be in Maranatha. I've never been away from them. One thing he has done for us in Celestial Church before he left is that he has stamped it upon the church that there is no alternative to knowledge. God has given us a lot of spiritual grace in Celestial Church, but we can easily fritter it away if we do not seek and pursue knowledge. Theological knowledge, business knowledge, knowledge of what makes a marriage work. It's not candle that will make your marriage work. It's the knowledge of what makes you a good husband and follow you through on that. So people are now beginning to seek training. Seminary levels, leadership levels, theological levels, selections are now seeking. And that is one of the things we need to thank Dr. Omololu Oladosu for before he left this stage. I am humbled by this opportunity, and every viewer out there, here's a word for you. Money is good, but don't let money take over your life. You should send money on an errand. Don't let money send you on an errand. As professionals, maintain the ethics of your profession, whatever that profession is. Law profession, medical profession, the teaching profession. And then if you're into full ministry, still I say do not let money derail you. I would like to encourage everybody, let us stay humble, let us stay true to God. We are all works in God's hands. He is the potter, we are the clay. Let God mold you into who He wants you to be. Do not run faster than your Creator. I love it when I challenge people to be visionary, but I'm saying in all of this, keep your eyes focused on God, His Word, and not let the world hijack you for itself. God bless you.